Hello.
Hello.
It seems like whenever Alan comes up here, we have to get Chick-fil-A.
So we do. Chick-fil-A sponsor me already. Come on.
So we're on our way to Chick-fil-A to get breakfasty food. Yeah. There you go.
I'm not getting breakfast. I'm getting lunch. You didn't eat breakfast?
I never do.
I had BDs for breakfast. It was probably not the best decision I've ever had, but... What's that? Oh, the mirror. Ah. Lawnmower. Look at him. That's a nice mower.
Thanks.
It's nice zero. It's not yours. Stop.
So actually, right now, we are driving my friend Cyrus's 530. It's an E39 530, and it's nicer than most of my vehicles and slower than most of my vehicles, oddly enough. And fifth gear is the worst because it's like Hello everybody. Today is Friday, June 19th, and right now I am warming up the M2 so we can go do an oil change. We have an autocross this week, as always, and I think in about 2 weeks there is a track day in Indiana, so just gotta get everything nice and prepped for that. I think today I'll also swap the tires on the M2 to the track setup, even though the wheels are kind of not in great shape. Oh well. Corona. So this is the first oil change that I'm doing on the M2 on my own. In the past, it's always gone back to the dealer because I had the year of free maintenance. So this time, I got, of course, the OEM filter and such, but I've decided to run Castrol Edge full synthetic oil. 5W40, it has the BMW Long Life 01 approval stamp certification thing. I'm excited to see how the Castrol works because I don't specifically know what BMW runs at the dealership. At this point, I'm just waiting for the car to warm up fully so I can change the oil. Right on the dash, it says okay now, so it's probably good, but I'll give it another minute. But the other cool thing that I received today was the water pump for the wagon. So it's in here. I got a Gates with a metal impeller. Probably not fully OEM quality, but honestly I've used Gates before for the 4Runner and other belts and stuff, and it's always been super high quality. So I'm looking forward to using this. You definitely can't see it, but it's a water pump for sure. And there is a new gasket on there right in here, which you can't really see through the bubble wrap, but I wanted to go for the metal impeller because the thing that usually kills old BMWs pretty easily is the plastic impeller on the water pump. I don't know why they used a plastic impeller, probably cost, but man, it was a bad idea. So currently I have the oil draining and it's flowing well. Obviously we are very far through draining the oil, but it just comes right out of the bottom of that oil pan cutout on the lower splash shield that I showed you last time. So that's really nice. But one thing that I think is pretty cool, actually, I've not really seen before, and maybe this is a BMW thing. The drain bolt is aluminum. I expected it to be steel, but I guess they do that because the pan itself is aluminum as well, and they don't want dissimilar metals. I have not seen an aluminum drain bolt before. The last BMW that I had a plastic oil pan, so it had an accompanying plastic drain bolt. So, I don't know. It's a new thing to me. The other cool thing is this is the filter housing at the top, which is really nice. And it's cartridge style, and they have this cap filter. They have a cap that goes on top, and so I had to buy this special big filter wrench to get to it. In the past I used to use a strap wrench, but I haven't really had good luck with that on BMWs. It's always fairly tight, and I just don't want to scratch the top cover or anything. So, oh well, more tools are always fun. I'm sure most cartridge style filters are the same way, but the BMW one is pretty cool. You have the cap, which is the thing we were unscrewing before, and then the actual filter element in here. And then you have a small gasket at the top, and then one on the side of the cap that is like the big main gasket on a regular standard filter. But this one's kind of cool because this is a gasket specifically for the oil in, I think, into the filter. And then my understanding is that it comes in and then filters through, obviously, then comes back out. Or maybe it's backwards, I don't entirely know. But it's pretty cool, and I mean, it filters, so I guess it works well. The cool thing about this is both this oil filter cap and the drain plug are torqued to 25 Newton meters, so it makes it super easy, especially considering that it's written right there. So once we start it, make sure all the oil circulates. I put 7 liters back in, that's what it calls for. So then it just has to do its checks internally, so it has to idle for a bit, warm up the oil, and then it checks the level automatically in iDrive. Then we're done, and then tire changing time. For it to be able to check the oil, it has to be fully warm, or at least mostly warm. So at this point, I'm just waiting for it to warm up. Honestly, I think that's a stupid design, because basically what it's saying is, in order to check the oil and make sure that you have enough oil in the engine, you have to idle the engine until it's warm, or drive the car until it's warm. Which means that if you're low, you're idling or driving a car on low oil. The actual oil check process is kind of cool though. In iDrive, you select this start measurement, and then you don't touch any of the pedals. And it actually adjusts the engine RPM and does all kinds of electronic trickery to make sure that the level sensor is reading the proper amount of oil. And of course it counts the percent for you, so it maintains high idle. And then at the end, it gives you a virtual dipstick measurement. Okay, we are at proper amount of oil, so that's cool. See over here it says max and min on this 228i, not even a 235 or a higher trim 2 Series. So now it's time to change the tires. I apologize, the shop is absolutely a mess right now, but I'm going to hopefully work on that in a little bit. But now I'm going to put the track wheels back on because I have the track day coming up, and because of autocross this weekend. I did get new, to me, Pilot Super Sports for the fronts, so these are in much better shape and they have a lot more tread. The rears were still pretty good, so I'm just going to use those. Time for track wheel. Installation time lapse, start now. So one thing that I am very strange about is that I take all of the lug nuts off and the lug bolts out in a cross pattern. And then I put them on the ground in a pattern to make sure that each bolt goes back into the exact same place that it came out of. I understand that that's strange, but I have had some issues in the past on my Civic with cross-threaded lug nuts. So I figured that if I keep the contaminated ones in the same spot, then it won't affect other lugs. I also always torque my lugs with the wheel as high in, or as in the air as possible. So for the rears, I have the handbrake on with it in the air fully. And for the fronts, I just let it touch the ground so it won't spin, because I think that that's the best way for the wheel to be centered on the hub. Probably I'm wrong, but oh well. Actually, it has a considerable amount of down travel here. This is more than my fist, which is actually quite a bit. My favorite thing about this car is how big the brakes are. There are few things that I enjoy as much as a well-braked car. Unfortunately, this car really could use more front camber. As you can see, it sort of eats up this outer sidewall, and it's very round now as opposed to being nice and squared off as it should be. But the overall tire wear across the surface is very good. It's just that on hard cornering, because of McPherson's strut, it tends to go a little, it tends to wear the outer edge. So I guess it cambers positively. So instead of just the tire sitting like this and then deflecting to be flat, it sort of sits a little bit like this, where the outer edge of the tire has more pressure. So it wears the outer more, but that's a McPherson strut problem. So the tires that are going on, obviously you've seen the wheels, they're the same wheels, except silver. But the tires that are going on are Pilot Super Sports. I used to have these on the car, and then when my original set wore out, I bought the Sport 4S's. They're almost identical, except that the Sport 4S is a little bit softer, so the turn-in isn't as crisp. I actually prefer the Pilot Super Sport, but for a track tire, they don't really have the heat capacity, nor do the 4S's. But as these wear out, I will replace them with hopefully 18-inch wheels and some RS4s or something. But for now, since I have these, I might as well use them. So that's why it looks like I'm putting the same tire back on as a track setup. It's basically because I am. Done. Took forever, I know. Well, I think that's going to be it for today's video. Just working on the M2. But tomorrow there is a Cars and Coffee in the morning, and then I'll be working on the wagon, and Sunday is another autocross. So I think those videos will be quite a bit of fun as well. See you tomorrow.